What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, the Oscar music is playing. It's time, baby. Al's favorite time of the year. Here are Oscar predictions for tomorrow's show. I am a big fan of the Oscars. I just sat through, first, before we get into it, thank you, Movie Meal patrons, Kimberly, Karen. If you want to be a member of the patronage, go, links all down in the description. Go get some Movie Meals merch. All great. Go do that. But I'm a big fan of the Oscars. Every company everywhere has their own version of an awards. I was at an awards for something I'm involved in yesterday last week, and I remember thinking, this is how people view the Oscars, because I was bored. And I didn't win anything. Obviously, I'm not good. I wasn't nominated for anything, but I was like, this is how people view the Oscars, but I'm in. I love the Oscars. I love it a lot. I always have. I do think last year's show was the worst show in the history of the Oscars. And I get they're trying to change things. I think some of the changes they made are bad. Some of the changes they made are good. But I'm excited for the show. Kyle, rumor has it you're not watching.
That rumor is correct.
Ridiculous.
Over the years, I have felt that the Oscars just become less fun, less, what's the word I'm trying to say? Less prestige, really. It doesn't really come across to me that it's something special. It just comes across to me as a show that tries too hard and they just don't really recognize like what they're supposed to be. So it's a mixture of that, but also just a mixture of my personal opinions over the years, where I've come to learn that the Oscars don't make or break my opinions as a movie fan, as a movie lover. So I just don't really put that much energy into like really wishing that, you know, some of my favorite things were able to go into the Oscars, and they'll probably be brought up in these conversations, I'm sure. But yeah, it's just a mixture of those two things. And but it is a special time for a lot of people, including yourself, and I get that. But just for me, it's not. But that doesn't mean I still get to enjoy, you know, the movies that I've been able to enjoy throughout the years.
Yeah, for me, the Oscars, they are political, but to the people who win them, you know, it's a dream. It's a dream come true. And I think any actor, their goal is to win an Oscar. I mean, that's just, I think that will always be true, even if they have become pretty political. They're trying to get away from it. They're trying not to. I don't know. I do think this is a weak year. I think last year was really weak, obviously COVID, but this year feels pretty weak. There's some movies I adore, but I don't, it doesn't feel like, you know, the last real heavy hitter year felt like the year with Moonlight, La La Land. There were so many great movies that year. But all right,
Yeah.
we're going to get into our picks. We may discuss, we're going to skip documentary feature. I did see Flea, but I haven't seen enough of them. Documentary, short film, live action, and short film animated, we are going to skip. So I'm just going to go up my list I have, which I have the one off of Rotten Tomatoes, because I like to see what the people think and the critics think. So I'm going to start here with visual effects. So Kyle, who's winning the Oscar for visual effects? We have Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home, the only Oscar nomination for No Way Home. Should have had more. But Kyle, where are you going here?
I think I have to have Dune take this one, right? I feel like Dune has been getting lots of love at the Oscars, which is great, but I feel like this is the one category where it's very much a for sure win. Some of these other ones, you know, No Time to Die, I don't really think of that movie for its visual effects necessarily, and Free Guy and the Marvel movies, their visual effects are good, but also at times like they can be very jarring and out of place. But Dune, for some reason, just didn't feel like that to me. It all felt very lifelike. So I feel like that's going to be the consensus for a lot of the voters, and I would lean towards Dune.
Yeah, it's Dune. It's not close. It's Dune. It's visual effects we're talking about here. Maybe Spider-Man No Way Home has the best shot after it, but it's Dune. Come on. There's a reason they gave it so many nominations. What they give it 10 nominations. It's the movie to beat. So it's Dune for me. So let's move up to production design. Kyle.
Okay.
What you got for, I'm just going in order off this Rotten Tomatoes list, starting from the far side. So Kyle, what do you got for production design.
This one is tough because all of these movies have beautiful production design. Like you are able to absorb into each one of these worlds, no matter, if say like a Power of the Dog, which I thought was good but not a great movie, I still can't deny that I felt like I was able to be dropped into this world that they created in the movie. And same with the other the movies here, West Side Story, Nightmare Alley. But I could see it being another one for Dune. I just don't see there being love for a movie like Tragedy of Macbeth or Nightmare Alley necessarily. And I feel like Power of the Dog is going to be winning some bigger awards. So maybe it could be West Side Story, but I think I'm just going to lean towards Dune.
So Kyle, we're on sound or production design?
I think you said production design.
Oh, I did, didn't I? I got confused for a second. I was like, we're on sound. And I was like, I don't see Tragedy of Macbeth. So production design, I've seen all these movies. I watched Tragedy of Macbeth, which is the only one I had not seen when the nominations came out on Apple Plus. And I like Tragedy of Macbeth, but I don't think it's close. I think when you can take alien worlds and you make them feel real and grounded and breathtaking, I think that goes with your visuals, and it also goes with your production and how you're able to set it up. When you talk about how that city looked, how the castle looked, how the underground cities looked, all of that, I think it's Dune for sure.
Okay.
So we're in agreement here?
Yeah.
All right, now we'll head up to sound. We have Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, West Side Story. I hate this category because they've changed it, and that's why I hate it, because they used to be sound editing and sound design, which they are just drastically different. And anybody who has made a movie, everybody who understands or studied film knows that they are drastically different, and they've combined them. I get the sound. People wanted it. I did they really though? I've never spoken to any of them, so I don't believe it. So if we're talking design, the sound design and editing all in a movie, I still think that I'm going to lean towards Dune here. But where are you at?
I think it's going to go to something else, and I'm going to lean towards it getting to West Side Story. Despite my theater being, well, part of it is my own humble opinion, and West Side Story's sound was some of the best that I've heard, and my theater is crappy with the sound. So the fact that Spielberg was still able to make my theater's speakers, make this movie in capturing, the terrific sounds that were involved here, that would be my personal vote. But I also feel like this could lean with the voting parties as well.
Yeah, for me, it's Dune. I think Dune is going to have a really fun time with these technical awards, and I think they're going to sweep. Maybe they won't. We've seen at times people win. I don't know if West Side Story is the front runner for sound with No Time to Die in there and Power of the Dog, but I just don't even, I don't know. I think I'm still going Dune, baby.
All right.
We shall move on. Kyle and I have a difference in opinion, which just means that Al's wrong. So now we're moving up to original song. We have Be Alive from King Richard. I don't know how to say this, even though I've seen Encanto. How do you say that title of that song?
I'm going to butcher it, but Dos Oruguitos?
From Encanto.
Oruguitas. Yes.
We have Down to Joy from
I'm
Belfast. We have No Time to Die from No Time to Die. And Somehow You Do, 4 Good Days. Kyle, who's winning best original song?
I mean, the pattern is that if there's a James Bond song, you win the Oscar. But if you're not sobbing in the Encanto song, like, you know what I mean? Like that song like hits you like a train because it's so emotional. I feel like that's going to be the one. Like I think between the power of Disney and the song, really hitting in the movie at the right time, that's what the song is supposed to do. It's supposed to capture like a moment of the movie. It's supposed to capture your emotion, and I think this one does it the most.
I'd love to see the math on that. You know, how many famous singers for a James Bond song have won? I know Sam won for and Adele won, right? For Skyfall. And then what was the one after? Was Spectre? Actually, I don't think Spectre won. Spectre sucks. But Adele won. But Encanto has been around. Lynn lingers. He likes to linger. He hangs out. And he won a lot of other awards. In my research yesterday, I discovered he had won like a Grammy, he won a Tony for all these different songs. And so he's up for the like quadriqua or whatever you call it, winning all 4 of the major awards for a song. And for me, I just, how is it not Encanto? I don't even remember the song No Time to Die from No Time to Die. And I liked the movie, but Encanto has been around. I think when it stays with voters, they have kids, and I think they just think this is the best song. So I'm going with Encanto as well.
All right.
Back to the agreement. All right, here we have original score. The nominees were Power of the Dog, Parallel Mothers, Encanto, Dune, and Don't Look Up, or as I like to call it, Don't Watch It. So Kyle, what are you, where are you going here? Where are you going here with best original score?
Why is Don't Look Up in this category?
I don't know.
Who thinks of the music? And God, how the heck did this movie get this far? Goodness. And I didn't even mind the movie. Whatever.
No,
anyway,
sucks. Garbage.
Geez, I could see it going down between Encanto and The Power of the Dog, but I feel like the music in The Power of the Dog really helps the movie. I feel like it helps the movie the most, so I think that's going to be how the vote swings. So I think I'll think the voters are thinking The Power of the Dog.
So I think it's going to Hans Zimmer for Dune.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
He has not won. He's been nominated for quite a few, but he has not won since he did the score for the original Lion King movie, the animated movie in 1995.
Right.
He's been nominated for many other movies: Preacher's Wife, As Good as It Gets, Thin Red Line, Prince of Egypt, Gladiator. I mean, he was nominated for Sherlock Holmes. He was nominated for Interstellar and Inception and Dunkirk. And it's time. It's time to give another elite legacy guy the win here. And I think I think they have the best score. It's the score that has stuck with me. It's the best score I've heard since the Batman, which I just have watched a billion times. It is one of the best scores. I don't think Encanto is going to win all these best song and get best score. I don't think Power of the Dog's sound score was actually that incredible. Don't Look Up is a crappy movie. I have not seen Parallel Mothers, so maybe I'm being unfair here, but from everything I've been seeing from other awards that have been won, I just think everything leans toward Dune. Do you hate me now?
You know, no, I actually kind of wish I changed my vote now because I think you're absolutely right. I didn't think about that angle. So that was a good catch. I think if anything else, it could really go to Zimmer because of the it's time situation. I think you're absolutely right.
It's time, baby.
It is time. Savannah.
Okay. So
Call
next
back.
we're gonna move over to makeup and hairstyling. So for the nominees, we have Coming to America 2, just a whopping 49% by the critics and a 38% by the audience. Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. So Kyle, where are you leaning here? Who's winning? Who in your heart is going to win makeup and hairstyle?
I feel like the conversation surrounding Tammy Faye is mostly because of Jessica Chastain, but also the makeup that was done to make Jessica Chastain look like Tammy Faye. So I have to think that the votes are going to be going towards that movie. But I mean, I personally would kind of like to see Cruella win just because I have a soft spot for that movie. I dig it quite a bit. And the House of Gucci, I could see. I think that's really House of Gucci being the only one other movie that could take it, but I feel like it will go to Tammy Faye.
Have you seen Tammy Faye?
No, I just have only heard the conversations on Twitter. I haven't been able to get around to it.
I watched it last night,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't love the movie. Her performance is very good, and the makeup is surefire hit to me. I think it's better than anything else in this. I don't think the makeup, I mean, from what I've heard from House of Gucci, I feel like it was more about the costumes than the makeup in that, and that didn't even get nominated for costumes. Dune,
That's a very good point.
Dune,
Wow.
I
Anyway,
think, Dune you're winning your technical awards, and I don't think this is one of them. To me, it is The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I think this is where it's going to get a win for its couple of nominations it has, and we'll get to the big actress nomination here soon. But that's my that's where I'm leaning. I think it's going to be Eyes of Tammy Faye. I think even right at the beginning, the makeup is right there. It's an important piece to the movie, so I think it's going to take the cake here. So now let's get to costume. Go ahead.
Sorry, real quick. I also read somewhere that apparently the makeup caused some issues for Jessica Chastain's skin, I believe. So maybe that could be part of the narrative to somehow give it the win. I don't know, but like maybe the makeup was so good and it looked so realistic, but also it may also help with the Jessica Chastain vote as well, which we'll get into later. But
we'll get there.
There's something else to mention at least.
So for costume design, I'm going with your girl. I'm going with Cruella, baby. I think Cruella is about costume designs, and it just makes the most sense. They do things unique. I think the probably closest to this is West Side Story, but I don't think it's gonna win it. I wouldn't roll over shocked if West Side Story stole it, but I think it goes to Cruella. Where are you leaning here?
Yeah, for me personally, Cruella really does work so well for its story because of the costume design. Like without it being as good as it was, it really wouldn't do the movie any favors. So that's why I do think it'll get the win. But man, like out of all the rest of this category, West Side Story really stands out to me. I mean, just because I love the movie so much, but also the costumes were really great. But also I think part of that was the way it was shot as well. Like the cinematography, the directing, I think that really helped that, while Cruella's costume design, it was the costume designs that worked as well as it did, not necessarily for how the movie was shot. But you're right though. I still can't believe House of Gucci, the Gucci movie, didn't get costume design nomination. That's not a good. That's not a good look.
No, so... it never is. Never is. So yeah. Kyle, I'm going to be honest here. We're moving to film editing. I'm a little torn on film editing. I have yet to decide. I'm stuck. So I need you to tell me your thoughts. So film editing, we have Don't Look Up, or as I like to call it, Don't Watch It. We have Dune, King Richard, Power of the Dog, Tick, Tick, Boom. All movies I've seen, all movies I really liked, except for Don't Watch It. And I myself am torn. So I would like to hear yours first, and then I will explain my process, or I'll cry because I didn't make a decision.
I feel like what I'm about to pick is the underdog in the race, and it absolutely should not be. And it's Tick, Tick, Boom. Like part of what makes that movie work so well is because of its editing. There are it almost feels like there's 3 different storylines going on of the same character, but they all coincide with one narrative. And it makes it work for the emotional parts of the story. It makes it work for the musical elements of the story. And the rest of these films, aside from Don't Look Up, I actually think Don't Look Up's film editing, it's not that good. But the rest of them, yes, they are good, but and personally, yeah, Tick, Tick, Boom is one of my favorite movies out of like most of them in this category, but it works. Like it really helps nail this story as well as it does, right? And I feel like it's being, maybe I'm wrong and I'm just not paying attention with this category and like all the Oscars chatter, but to me on the outside looking in, I see these films and I feel like it's going to be pegged as the underdog, and it absolutely should not be. I think the voters should be voting for this, and this would be my personal choice. What do you think?
Here's where I'm stuck. Okay.
I want
to say Dune. I think Dune's editing is really great, but do the voters go, this movie's 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's too long. It doesn't have a lot of editing tricks, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when you look at the editing awards that have already happened from the biggest of the biggest awards, including the editors and things like that, there's been a big divide of 3 movies. King Richard has won some, Tick Tick Boom has, and so has Dune. And I don't even think Tick Tick Boom is considered an underdog. I think Tick Tick Boom is competing hard. And that's where I'm torn because I want to be correct. But I feel like Dune might sweep. But you know what? I'm doing it. I'm going with Kyle. Tick Tick Boom. I'm going to die on this hill with my boy. Because Tick Tick Boom, when I just think about the way some of the songs are and the editing around those songs is and how it looks, I think maybe this will be where Lynn gets an award for Tick Tick Boom, which should have had way more nominations than it did. And I just think I'm going with you. I think Dune and King Richard, I'm not going to roll over shocked if they win. I would with Power of the Dog and I would with Don't Look Up. I don't think the editing there is as big, but I think the editing is an essential piece to Tick Tick Boom that fits not only with the narrative that we're showing, but with the songs. And it's hard to do that. So I'm dying on this hill, but Dune, it very well could be. So let's move on here to cinematography. We've got Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy Macbeth, and West Side Story. Kyle, who's winning for best cinematography?
This category is tough for me. I feel like Nightmare Alley, it's getting nominations, but no one's talking about it enough. Power of the Dog, I'm coming to find out that people think it's good, but not great. Unlike a month ago where I thought it was like a front runner for a lot of these awards. And then, you know, there's these 3. And my personal vote would be West Side Story, but I don't know. I just think it's either going down to Tragedy of Macbeth or Dune. I think I was going to lean towards Macbeth, but now I think I'm going to lean towards Dune. I actually think Dune could get cinematography here. But this one's tough for me. What do you think?
I don't think it's close. I think it's Dune. I don't think this is a
Yeah?
debate. I think the only thing maybe kind of close was Power of the Dog, but you're making an alien planet look intense and multiple planets just look incredible. And compared to the mountains that I see every day, you know, and they didn't even film here. So
yeah, they didn't. It wasn't in Montana.
I just think it's Dune. I don't think this one is close. Where film editing, I could see a Tick Tick Boom and everything coming in, but yeah, cinematography, it's Dune for me, baby.
I do hope it's West Side Story. Like, there's some beautiful shots that are done in that movie, but
there are a lot of lens flares, though, Steven. A lot of lens flares.
Beautiful lens flares.
I haven't seen such great lens flares since J.J. Abrams in Star Trek.
No, those aren't good.
Real quick, international feature film is next on the list. I know we said we'd skip it. I did watch, or I have not seen Drive My Car, but I have seen Flee. Kyle, did you have a weird pick here? What are you picking? Feels like I think everybody's going towards Drive My Car since it's nominated for Best Picture. It'll win Best International. But what do you think?
I did see Drive My Car. It's on HBO, so there you go. You can see it there. I thought it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Not one where I think it's going to be very memorable, but I did find myself appreciating the movie a lot. But I actually think it's more competitive than that. I see it being between Drive My Car and The Worst Person in the World. And at least like in the Twitter sphere, it's feeling like the conversations are more towards that movie. Yeah, but that's what I'm wondering. Is it a Twitter conversation or is that also coming into play with the Oscar voters? So I'm going to go with Worst Person in the World just to shake things up between our picks here. But I don't know. You make a good point about Drive My Car also being nominated for Best Picture.
I'd go Drive My Car because of that. I do like that A Yak in the Classroom has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but nothing in the audience. So every critic in the world loves it, but no one's seen it.
Oh, yeah, that's about right.
So let's move over to animated feature, which arguably might be the most like heavy hitter without being the biggest heavy hitter. You know what I mean? So we have Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya the Last Dragon. So for this, I think it's Encanto. I think Encanto's probably the best movie. Oh, it's tough because Mitchell's versus the Machine is so good and Flea was very good, but Flea is not going to win. All these movies are great, but I feel like Encanto is just going to run away with it. Where are you at?
Can I speak on something before I
No.
tell my picks?
No.
Okay.
Sure.
It is frustrating that Luca got nominated, and not because it's not good. It is a very enjoyable movie, but this was a streaming movie. Disney made it a streaming only movie. Unless if this movie quietly got placed in an LA or New York theater somewhere, how is this in the conversation when the rules are supposed to be that these have a theatrical release of some degree?
Did Don't Look Up
So
and Coda have theatrical releases?
they had small releases that went out to, like the LAs and the New Yorks, like the big market areas. That's usually how it goes but
And
Luca,
Luca didn't do that.
I don't believe so, because they made a point of having the Pixar movies of late go to streaming only on Disney Plus, and that has angered the people who work for Pixar. Like, it's a whole conversation behind it. So how the heck is this movie getting nominated? Like, it's great. Like, this movie should be nominated. It's a wonderful movie. But if they're bending the rules just to let this movie get in, I find that very frustrating. And it also kind of adds to, why I don't like the Oscars all that much. So anyway, that being aside, my love for the Mitchells versus the Machines is going to root hard, but I think the conversations are now in Encanto because it's becoming more beloved online and streaming. It was released theatrically, but the songs have grown to popularity and heights, and the story is also just wonderful and amazing. And the Mitchells versus the Machines, that movie came out all the way back in April, and it was a streaming movie initially, Mitchells versus the Machines, but it did have a theatrical release, I believe, like late summer of some degree. So that's why I'm not talking about Mitchells versus the Machine. It's not a bias thing. So I think the voters are going to go with Encanto, but my heart really wants the Mitchells versus the Machines to win.
I'm looking at insider.com and they said that Luca did play in one movie theater in LA and that was it. But outside of that,
that's probably how it...
outside of that, everything else just says streaming.
Yeah. But those types of releases are annoying too. But that's a whole other conversation for me. But
anyway. I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly, though. These movies should be in theaters. So for me, it's Encanto. It's Encanto. We don't talk about Bruno, but we do talk about Encanto. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be getting all them awards. All right, moving on here. Kyle, you're breaking up again.
I'm not even on Wi-Fi. What is going on here?
Maybe try getting on the Wi-Fi and see if that fixes it. It might.
All right, give me a sec.
Well, we don't talk about Bruno. My beef is with my own goddamn studio. It's time I'm renting a building out. I'm putting up everything I want, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. So
how's this?
Right now, you're okay. Maybe we'll just give it a minute or two, so let the phone catch up or anything. Is your phone low power?
No, it got charged last night.
How much power is it at right now?
I don't have the percentage staying up. I don't know. Like maybe
is it 80%? Under half? Oh, okay.
No, it's not.
Sometimes phones and computers, that's why I plugged mine in, because there was some lag going on just to stop it. Sometimes if you just plug it in, it fixes it. But right now you seem to be okay. So we'll keep going.
Well, let's try.
So moving on here, we're going to move to adapted screenplay. So for adapted screenplay, we've got Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. I've thought about this long and hard. It feels like from a month ago, The Power of the Dog was going to sweep. It had so many nominations, blah, blah, blah. I think this is going to go to Coda, and I think it rightfully should. And I'm all for it because Coda would have been in my top 3 favorite movies of the year. Had I seen it when we made that list, it is that good. So I go with Coda. Kyle, where are you sitting for best adapted screenplay?
God, that makes my heart happy.
But Coda, I'm not picking it.
Coda, the little engine that could. It should have gotten a wider theatrical release, but man, is it a good movie. And my heart
Yeah.
really does want it to win. Oh, what the heck? I'll say that the voters win it too. I say the voters will pick it because of the little engine that could thing, and I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. Although if it does, that'll be awesome. But that's
We'll
something
get to
else
Best
that we'll
Picture.
get to. We'll get to that. But you know what? I think this will come close to getting like a big nomination. And what the heck? I'll ride with it. I love it.
All right. So now moving to original screenplay, we have Belfast, we have Don't Watch It, we have King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. I will be shocked if Licorice Pizza wins for how bad of a reception it has actually gotten. Even though that 91% is there, I have not seen it, but I trust the opinion of some people close to me who absolutely hate it. I think this movie is going to end up going to Belfast myself, because I think this is where it's going to get a little bit of love for not getting as many nominations, I think, as people thought when it first came out. And I think King Richard is probably the second closest here with a really great screenplay and story. I don't think Don't Look Up has a true shot. I think Don't Look Up stinks. I have not seen Worst Person in the World, and Licorice Pizza, I think, has just been too divisive for audiences. So I'm going with Belfast.
This category makes me laugh. Like Licorice Pizza and Don't Look Up, just getting in here. But I do wonder if Licorice Pizza is an audience thing versus an Oscar voters thing. I wonder how much the voters are understanding of that conversation with Licorice Pizza. But it's just a thought. Like I don't really think that it's going to win either. And the one that I really am thinking will have some passion behind is The Worst Person in the World. Just because with these other movies, I'm not really seeing who it could go to. I guess Belfast like is probably the safe vote. So I get like why you're thinking it's that, but I don't know. I've heard that people are really taken by Worst Person in the World. So I guess I'll go with that. I'm
Wow.
probably wrong, but I
You
don't
are.
know.
I don't know. I haven't seen the show yet.
I don't know. Why not make it different, you know?
Sure.
Make it
I
interesting.
mean, we are putting money on it, so we might as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna lose
now,
$10 this year.
Now we're moving to the heavy hitters here. We're going to start with actor in a supporting role. I will butcher some names, so I believe this is Ciaran Hinds.
Sure, you can go with that.
For Belfast, we have Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith McPhee for The Power of the Dog. Kyle, where are you going here?
A month ago, I thought it was Cody Smith McPhee, but Troy Kotsur took
100%
the bull by the horns and ran with it, and I love it. He's fantastic in the movie, and the movie is a delight.
These actors and actresses in Coda should have gotten more nominations. I don't think this is close. I think he acts circles around pretty much everybody else, and those are some heavy hitter actors. I mean, you're talking like J.K. Simmons and Jesse Plemons are incredible actors. I mean, everybody on this list is, and I think Troy walks circles around him. I think he's that good. Mm-hmm. So
but I do want to give love to Plemons though, because the dude has worked hard and he finally got a nomination. It was a surprising nomination, but it did make me happy that he was able to do it. Yeah.
I love it. So now we're going to move on to actress in a supporting role. Kyle's got to be jumping with glee here. So Kyle, why don't you read off the list of nominees so I can write something down?
Yeah, in this category, we have Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, also an underrated actress, so happy for her. Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog. Oh, geez, I forgot to check on this name, but Anjunwei Ellis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I deeply apologize, for King Richard, and Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, and she has been the runaway. It's not even close. Nope. Honestly, in this category, it's probably like considered very weak. Like these actresses are terrific, but Kirsten Dunst might be the closest possible chance, and even still, Ariana is taking it by storm. So it's her.
She, in some scenes in West Side Story, steals the show.
Yes.
She's that good. And
Mhm.
I'm with you. It's not close. It is going to her.
Mhm.
So now let's move up to actor in a leading role. The actors. Myself. So we have Javier Bardem for being the Ricardos. We have Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. All of these performances I thought were really good. I've seen all of these movies. And 3
What
months
did you
ago,
think? Sorry, what did you think of Bardem and Ricardos? I haven't seen that movie.
I think Being the Ricardos was a good movie, not a great movie. I thought both their performances were good and not iconic. I think I've seen Javier Bardem be better in many other movies. I think of to Sicario. I think of why can't I think of the movie with the Coen brothers movie's name? Where he plays the villain.
Oh, No Country for Old Men,
No
right?
Country for Old Men. I
Yeah,
think of
yeah.
Skyfall, and I think these are just better performances. I think they're good. Um, when it comes to some other movies, I think maybe we could have had some other people pop in there,
Nicolas
but
Cage.
for what? Oh, for Pig, yeah, for
Pig.
Pig for sure. Um, 2 months ago, I'm sitting here screaming at the television that this is Andrew Garfield. I do think this is kind of a weaker year. All these performances are great, but as much as I want Andrew Garfield to win, and I will jump up in joy screaming if I'm wrong, I do think it's going to go to Will Smith. I think he's going to finally win an Oscar. I think this is a weak year, a la Leo DiCaprio, where all the movies were pretty good, great performances, but nobody felt like a clear frontrunner. So they went with the legacy guy. Andrew Garfield's been nominated twice. He's a lot younger and he's going to be around for a long time. I think this goes to Will Smith, and I'm not even sure it's close in the eyes of the voters. What do you think?
Same with me. I'm gonna be crossing my fingers that Andrew Garfield can take the win, but this is Will Smith's category. He's
And
gonna
he
get the
deserves
Oscar.
it. He does deserve it. His performance is great. I remember
Mhm.
saying when I left the theater for King Richard that Will Smith is the front runner for the Oscar. And like 3 days later, I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, and I was like, crap, it is Andrew Garfield now. And it's sticking with Will. I think the legacy's there. But man, I would love Tick, Tick, Boom was so good. So good.
Yeah.
And King Richard's really great too. But these movies both deserved more love this year. So now
Mhm.
let's get into something that I think is actually the toughest of maybe any category yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
I do think
I
this
like
is
this.
tough.
Let's talk
Is
about it.
actress in a leading role. I'm going to let Kyle roll because I already know where he's headed. So Kyle, who do you think is going to win actress in a leading role?
So let's first run down the category. Who got nominated?
Oh,
We got
yes, please.
Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. And yes, I love Kristen Stewart and Spencer. I love this movie dearly. But I got to be honest, seeing her get an Oscar nomination when she was getting absolutely zilch and everything else was a complete shock. And while I wish she could win, I think she just should at least enjoy the show because it's probably going to go to Jessica Chastain. I see that she has been kind of winning the most awards lately,
I'm
and I think that
shocked.
she's the front runner. But I do wonder about Olivia Colman for some reason. I feel like she's more of a dark horse than people are thinking because she is very beloved in the industry. And I think I do wonder if there could be something to it to where they give her Academy Awards in like the span of 4 years. I wonder if something could play into that for her being a dark horse candidate. But I think I'm gonna choose that Jessica Chastain will be the one getting the award.
So Jessica Chastain won the SAG award. And
Mhm.
that I think is the big lead that she's going to win this. And Kristen Stewart wasn't nominated. I think it is down to these two. And normally I try to go with a mix of my own feelings, how I think the voters will react, where are the other nominations, how's the campaign going. And I am going to go with almost my gut here. And I think I'm going to go with your girl, and I'm disappointed you're not. I think it's going to be Kristen Stewart because I just watched Jessica Chastain and I have seen her better in many movies. And I'm not sure I've seen Kristen Stewart better. The only movie I can think of, which movie's name just
Twilight
escaped
New
me.
Moon.
Yes. What's the movie with our girl? I give you great ideas here. The movie
You're gonna
where
have
she
to be more
takes
specific.
care. I can't even think of the mom's name right now. Where Kristen Stewart plays her daughter and she has early onset Alzheimer's.
Oh, Still Alice.
Still Alice. That is the
Great
best
movie.
performance up to date for Kristen Stewart, and I think this is better. I do not think Spencer is a great movie. I think Spencer was okay, and I will stand by that. And I think back to, I know Kyle doesn't like me bringing it up. I think back to when this director made Jackie and how heavy of a year that was. And if this had been Natalie Portman and Jackie right now against them, I think she is the clear front runner. And I do think Jessica Chastain has won a lot, and I think people like her movie a lot. But after watching the performance, I think at times it's a bit campy and a bit over the top and not subtle, where Kristen Stewart is subtle. I don't think it's close with anybody else, really. Except, honestly, I think maybe Nicole Kidman for being the Ricardos. I mean, playing Lucy is Hollywood loves their icons. She, to me, is the dark horse. I think Olivia Colman is starting to become a bit of a we're going to nominate her. She's getting that Meryl Streep vibe going. We're going to nominate her for every performance, even though nobody's seen it or it has legs. But I'm sticking with Kristen Stewart. I don't think I'm going to be right, but I really freaking hope so. And I'm very disappointed that Kyle, who almost always is the I'm going with my gut guy, doesn't go with his true feelings here. You should come to the dark side and die on this hill with me, sir.
Not for this category. I forgot what other category I went to the dark side with you on. Like, it was a couple ago, but that's all right. I'll be happy no matter what. I'll be happy if, well, not no matter what. If Kristen Stewart won, I'll be happy.
Kristen Stewart wins, I think you'll be jumping up for joy.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling here for the last two big ones. We have Best Director. So we have Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. We have, I'm going to butcher your name. I apologize. I believe it would be Roshuki Hamaguchi, I believe, for Drive My Car. Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza. Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. And Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. Kyle, where are you leaning? I'm very curious where you're leaning here.
Remember when Belfast was the front runner in the awards race? Remember that time long ago?
I don't.
I do.
It was October.
It was October. Anyway, in this category, boy, you know what? I would like to see Steven Spielberg win. I know it's not the flashy choice. I know it's not like exciting because we've seen Spielberg win and be nominated.
Winning would be incredible. Don't you think?
I think for West Side Story it would be incredible. I just really loved his take on it so much. But I think it's so weird. Despite Power of the Dog not getting the love that I thought it was getting a month ago, I feel like Jane Campion is going to be the one winning this award. And I don't know why. Like, maybe it's just that weird of a year, but yeah, I don't know. That's just what my gut's telling me, is that the voters are going to pick her.
So I'm going to do a quick rundown here for Spielberg because I just love talking about him. So Steven Spielberg was nominated for director for Close Encounters. He was nominated for director for Indiana Jones, for director for E.T. He was nominated for director for The Color Purple. He was nominated and won for Schindler's List for director. He was nominated for director and won for Saving Private Ryan. He was nominated for Lincoln for directing He was nominated for Lincoln for directing. Did I just say that twice? I meant to
Yeah,
say
you did.
Munich the first time.
Get a stroke.
And then he was nominated for West Side Story. So I don't think legacy is here. I think he's arguably the greatest director ever. I think the voters agree to that. And remember, the directors in the Academy vote for the directors. It's something we tend to forget who votes for what. So directors voted for the director nominees. Everybody votes for the winner. I think when it comes down to everybody, I think they are going to give it to Jane Campion for Power of the Dog. I think it's a little too hard for the voters not to want to go back-to-back women for the first time ever in this category. I think it is deserving. I think the direction is a big reason why the movie works, as much as our boy disagrees. But I don't think Kenneth Branagh is going to get it. I don't think Drive My Car is going to get it. I really don't think Paul Thomas Anderson's going to get it. And I think Spielberg is kind of the quiet, the second one who, if it's not Jane Campion, it would go to Spielberg. As you know, you haven't won since Saving Private Ryan in the 90s. So maybe, but I just don't see it happening. I think it'll go to Jane Campion. I think this will be where Power of the Dog gets a little love, because Best Picture's coming up, and let's just get into Best Picture. Kyle and I agree here. So Best Picture, we had how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's right. Didn't they make it a thing? It had to be 10 now?
Yeah, it has to be 10 now.
Okay. Spider-Man No Way Home should have been here, and the Batman should be here this upcoming next year. So here are the nominees for Best Picture. Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story. To me, Don't Look Up has absolute zero business being here. I think it's atrocious that this movie is here, to be honest. I don't think this movie's good. I think the second we saw Power of the Dog, and it came out in December, everybody said, it's Power of the Dog, Power of the Dog, Power of the Dog, Power of the Dog. And then the actual awards started happening, and the awards season actually started happening. And then we saw Power of the Dog wasn't winning. I don't think Power of the Dog is going to win Best Picture. I think it's going to be Coda. And I'm locking it in, baby. Best Picture
with the lock.
Going to Coda, because I think it is the most deserving. Where on earth is Tick, Tick, Boom here? And Don't Look Up is here. Get out of town, Academy. I think it's going to Coda. I don't think other movies are... I do think it's close. I think Power of the Dog just hasn't won as much as it should, but I think Coda and The Power of the Dog have both been winning a handful of Best Movie awards. And I think at the end of the day, people prefer it. And I think they're going to give it to a streaming service for the first time ever. And I just think everybody's going to go in thinking Netflix, and we're going to be wrong. Kyle, what do you think?
All of a sudden, there's weird discourse on Twitter that, like, if Coda wins, that's going to be like such a tragedy. They're like, oh, they're just picking the safe, feel-good movie, or like, those types of conversations.
God, it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker.
I'm like, this doesn't feel like, like a Green Book type situation to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just living in the moment and just love Coda so much. But if it did win, like, sign me up. That would be awesome. I would totally be happy about that. But this category, these nominations, they don't really move the needle for me. Like, I think this is a year to where these movies, it's kind of like what you said at the beginning of this video, Al. Like, they're good movies, but there's not anything where there's memorability to it. Like, they're not standing out. Like, they just seem like equal playing fields almost. So I think, like, since this category is just so murky, it's just, there's just not really a front runner. But I think if I had to choose one, it's going to be...
Wait. Let me say something first. Let me just talk a little bit here. Let's build up a little suspense.
All right.
Okay. All right. I think, and I'd love to know your thoughts. I want to see if you agree with me here. I think there are a couple movies that are in contention that I'm not going to roll over shocked. Okay. I think Belfast does not have a shot. Do you agree or disagree?
I think it has a shot.
Wow. I don't think Belfast has a shot. I think Coda obviously has a shot. I think Don't Look Up has zero chance in hell. I think
Yeah.
Drive My Car is going to win Best International, and I don't think it has the momentum a Parasite had a few years ago as a foreign film to get the traction. I do think Dune is a massive contender, and I think him not getting nominated for Best Director does give it a little bit of an edge that people are not considering, and I would be jumping up and down with joy for Dune. I think King Richard has a shot because I think King Richard is very, very good. I do not think Licorice Pizza has a shot. I do think Nightmare Alley is a small little underdog, and I think Power of the Dog is contending, and I also think West Side Story contends. Do you agree or disagree?
I think I would actually flip around King Richard and Licorice Pizza. I wouldn't be shocked if Licorice Pizza had more of a chance than King Richard.
If Licorice Pizza wins Best Picture, I'm going to lose it.
I don't think it will. I just think it has more of a chance than King Richard does. But I think I'm gonna lean towards. You were gonna say something?
Say your pick.
The suspense.
No, say your pick.
I think Netflix knows that this is a weaker year, and I think they've been driving hard with the marketing to make sure they win Best Picture. They've been wanting a Best Picture win for the last 4 or 5 years. Whenever they finally start making Oscar caliber movies. And I feel like that they've been doing everything they can to make that happen. So I think based on that, The Power of the Dog
Don't Look
win.
Up.
I mean, sure, yeah, Don't Look Up too. Like, it got nominated. That was a surprise. Like, but no, I just think only based on what I just said there, it will be The Power of the Dog. But if it's Coda, man, I'm gonna be happy. Like that'll be the one time where I'm like, good job, Oscars.
It's not usually the weak years are the years you and I disagree on the Best Picture. I do think Power of the Dog, if they say their name, I'm just going to be bummed that I lost money to Kyle because I have a feeling it'll go that way. But do you remember last year when you didn't watch show? Last year they announced Best Picture too early. They did 2 other categories after Best Picture. And if they do that again this year, I legitimately am going to riot. Because Best Picture is the award of the night. It is about the best movie of the year, not who had the best performance. Last year, though, Chadwick Boseman was the consensus front runner. R.I.P. to the King, Wakanda forever. He was the clear front runner, and everybody and their mom knew it was going to him, and it didn't go to him. And now I'm just not sure what to believe with this Academy, with how many members they've added on where things are going to go. So I just think I look at some of these movies and I go, who had a moment for me? Where's the moment I remember feeling emotion? In Dune, I remember the fight scenes and I remember the conversation in the tent more than I remember anything, and the very end, as such a big fan of it. King Richard, the biggest scene I remember more than anything that I thought was the best was him watching his daughter and then saying to his other daughter that she will be great, but you're going to be the greatest of all time.
That'll be his Oscar scene.
It will be. And for me in Coda, it's the conversation where I'm not listening to anything, where they're talking at the truck towards the end, which is also going to be the scene they show when Troy wins with the dad and her about their future. And I don't have a scene for any of the other movies like that. Obviously, there's a couple I haven't seen, but like what Power of the Dog, I don't have a scene where, I mean, I remember scenes, but there's not a scene I sit back and I think about and I ponder and I wonder about, and I think about how great of a scene that is. So I'm just going to go with Coda. I really hope it's Coda. I will be happy if it's Power of the Dog, but I think when they give this to Best Director for Jane Campion, I think the voting body is going to be like, yep, that's enough. So.
Yeah, isn't the pattern that usually whoever, like Best Picture and Best Director aren't one and the same? Isn't that usually the pattern?
I think lately that has been the pattern. I think for a while it always felt like the Best Director would win Best Picture. And I think the year it switched was Argo, when we started to see it less because he didn't get nominated and then he won Best Picture. And it started to be, we're going to use director as a way to give love to 2 great movies as a Best Picture. But I think that's probably, I don't know. I just don't think it's going to go that way this year. I really hope it's Coda. Coda deserves way more. Tick, Tick, Boom should have been in here. Kyle, we're running out of time. Any final thoughts on the Oscars?
Not on the Oscars. I hope it's a good show. I hope people enjoy it, but it just doesn't have that feeling of being special to me anymore. So until I see like
Maybe it
actual
will.
change, maybe it will, but until actual change happens, like I'm just gonna wait on the winners and I'm gonna root for the certain picks that I have mentioned earlier. But on an unrelated note, go watch the movie X from A24. It's a very good movie. There's my
What if it
review.
was in my theater? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, to get out of the review. Guys, what did you think of what do you think? What are your predictions? Drop them below. We'll make a video late after the Oscars. I might not edit it. It'll depend on how late that video ends, and I might put it up the next morning instead of putting it up late that night. So just watch out for either Monday morning or Sunday night for our reaction to the Oscars, who won, what happened, and probably rants from Alex about the show. So gear up for it. Thank you guys for watching. Go get some merch. Thank you to the patrons. It's all linked down in the description. And as always, thank you for watching, Mom.
See you guys.